Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Fight for Our Freedom Radio. And I'm your host, BADBABY. And tonight we are so honored to have with us renowned psychic investigator, BETSEY Lewis. And let me tell you a little bit about BETSEY. BETSEY is an author and Earth Mystery investigator, and she is a gifted international psychic considered one of the best in her field. Her first paranormal event took place with her parents at the age of 8 months old, and then again at the age of 3. She began communicating with her spirit guides at the age of 7. She began receiving frightening dreams and premonitions of disastrous earth changes. And now, worldwide, after a UFO encounter for the past 40 years, BETSEY has investigated aliens and UFO sightings. BETSEY has been investigating into bizarre cattle mutilations throughout the Northwest and other paranormal mysteries. She worked closely with renowned cattle mutilation investigator Tom Adams during the 1970s and the 1980s to uncover the mystery of the cattle mutilations. She studied under 2 Native American spiritual leaders during the 1990s, and she was inspired to write a book by her uncle, William Peter Blatty, the author of the New York best-selling Times novel, The Exorcist. BETSEY has been on many other radio shows. I've been honored to have her here as a guest here several times. She has been on Coast to Coast with George Norrie, Ground Zero, Fade to Black Paranormal Central with Dr. Rita Lewis, and KTLA, The Fringe, and also Hyperspace, many other popular shows. She's planned 12 nonfiction paranormal spiritual books and 3 children's books. And BETSEY also has a website. You can visit her website at www.betseylewis.com. And on that note, let's get her out here. Welcome to the show, BETSEY. It's such an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much, BADBABY. It's great to be here. I didn't know if I was going to make it tonight or not.
Oh, well, you sound really good. What's up? You got a...
What's that?
I said you sound really good, so what's going on?
Oh, thank you. Well, got all kinds of things going on. Yeah, a big move coming up out of Idaho, and working on some other books, and so yeah, staying busy.
So you're leaving Idaho then, huh?
Yes, yes.
And let me ask you real quick: are you leaving because of some of the premonitions you've been getting?
No, no,
okay.
I'm not. No, I'm leaving because I'm tired of snow and cold during the winter. That's one reason.
I don't blame you there. Well,
yeah.
I forgot to mention that I am also your friend on Facebook, and I also go over to your page on a daily basis and look at some of the things. Oh, I just love reading your stuff, BETSEY.
Well, thank you. I try and stay with what's going on in the news, and there's so much. But there's a lot of fake news out there, and I try and filter through it, because you just don't know what's real anymore and what's fake.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you see all these posts that, about Donald Trump and he did this and he did that and you know that a lot of it's hype, especially with them trying to get the election, so they're putting a lot of propaganda out there. And I try to stay away from that. You'll have to laugh because I have a friend on Facebook that said, I am so sick of Donald Trump being tore apart and picked on for everything in this world. He goes, it's just ridiculous. So I was thinking about that. I was thinking about yesterday, so I posted. Yeah. You're going to love this post I put out.
Good. What'd you do?
I said, hey, everybody, guess what? I broke a fingernail today, and
I was going to say a toe or something.
I said, I know it's Donald Trump's. It's Donald Trump's fault.
He did it.
And people were going, BADBABY, you're too much.
It's true. People have, I don't know, there's insanity. It's contagious. churches out there. You know, what was that one guy, the ex-FBI guy, saying that Donald Trump was using numerology and you know, he's doing a Hitler thing with numbers 88, and I'm going, what is he talking about? You know, who are these people? Are they aliens? Maybe they were taken, you know, the real people were taken, and, you know, aliens were put in their place. I don't know.
Maybe.
What do you think?
I wouldn't doubt it. You know, even that, or you know what, you think too, but maybe they're programmed. You know,
Yeah.
are these people part of the mind control thing, and they're being programmed to say and do all these things? But you know, I mean, it is really getting ridiculous. And I don't think Donald Trump is the perfect person. Everybody, you know, has their own.
No.
But what they're doing to the man is just way, way ridiculous.
It is.
And I feel sorry for his wife because, God bless her. She, you know, she carries herself well, keeps her mouth shut, and you got to know she's hurting inside for what they're doing to them.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You know, I find it interesting. I didn't see any post about him seeing psychics, but let's go back to Ronald Reagan. Now he went you know, he went to astrologists all the time.
Yeah, Nancy was a big believer in astrology. Oh yeah, and psychics, you bet.
So, you know, I mean, it was perfectly fine for them, though, wasn't it?
Oh, of course. Of course.
Okay, let's go back a little bit farther. How about JFK? He was the biggest womanizer around.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, nobody's perfect out there. I mean, and look at all the people that we are hearing about sexual abuse now. And I've been predicting this. I've been saying so many of our leaders and people that we look up to are going to fall from grace. And sure enough, you know, all these things, and there's more to come out. I mean, this is just a tip of the iceberg. There's more.
So what have you been hearing or, you know, feeling, or when you've been saying the leaders are going to fall for grace? Did you have a premonition? Did you have a dream? Share that with us.
Well, I've just felt it. I don't know. I just felt that, you know, with the Catholic Church, and we hear about all this sexual abuse with priests, you know, we still haven't heard about everything that's going on. A lot of it's being hushed up. You know, it's all, you know, we don't hear the truth, what's really going on out there. It's just incredible. And, you know, we're hearing more and more priests are doing that. And I think it goes right up to, I don't think Pope Francis is involved, but he knows what's going on. And, yes, he's not doing anything. There's a lot of corruption in churches. I hate to tell people that, but it's true. It has gone on for centuries, you know.
I've known the truth for a long time, Betsy, because I've interviewed Kevin Annett, and every single time that I interview Kevin Annett, I don't know if you're familiar with Kevin, but he ran a church in Canada. He was a minister in a church in Canada, and he started letting the people in the area come up at the end of the service and testify. Well, these people that were of Indian descent were talking about their children being taken by the Queen, and so he actually started investigating, and he started finding out about how they were taking these people's children, and they were experimenting on them, and how they were taking the orphanage children and making them go into one room together. That had some of them that had TB to see what would happen, and then he ended up. He goes through the Catholic churches and with these people, and they beat a drum and they hand out flyers about how the people are donating money to Satanism, really, you know, and these people are proving that they have sacrificed children, and he has actually he's dug up graves, and he had all the evidence. He took them to court in Brussels. And also some of our leaders, I'm not going to name the people because it's all in those shows, but they were all found guilty of child trafficking, child torture, all that. And even the Queen, they were served warrants. They were served warrants, and they don't go to some countries, because if they go in some of these countries, they will immediately be arrested. Now, do you remember when the Pope stepped down?
Yeah, right.
That was when he took them to court in Brussels. And that Pope was served a warrant. And a lot of people don't know the truth, but he was given the option, either step down from the pulpit and never need Vatican grounds, or come with us and go to jail. So he stepped down.
Wow. There's just so much. You watch these movies, which I have, like The Tudors and Versailles and Kings and Queens and the things that were going on, but nothing's changed in our world. I mean, it's just different characters now, in modern times.
What's happening is, it's all, like you said, it's always gone on, but now the veil is being lifted. And people are being shown the truth, see. And, and I'm wondering, do you think that the veil is being lifted and the truth is coming out because of the earth changes and the times that we're in right now?
Oh, absolutely. And people are going to be so shocked about aliens. That's the next thing that we're going to have the biggest shock about. And who they are and where they're from, and it's going to be pretty shocking. Fasten your seatbelts out there. It's really going to get crazy.
Now that we're on the topic of aliens, tell us a little bit what you know about aliens. Are they all bad? Are there some of them good, some of them bad? And when we do see them or get to find out about them, what do we need to know as far as some of them being good or bad?
Well, there's benevolent aliens, I believe. I think we've got many, coming here and doing, experiments. They're watching us. Some want to help us. And, I think they don't get too involved, but they do. We know that a lot of missiles were deactivated by them. And in one instance, in Russia, supposedly a missile was getting ready to fire. And, I guess they actually activated the missile, and they had to shut it down real quick. But there was a UFO hovering over the missile and caused that. But there's stories of, people disappearing. There were stories of Dulce and the aliens that are underground, the Greys and the reptilians. All kinds of stories of, the ones that are evil, malevolent, that have an agenda for us. And I was watching, it's kind of interesting. Last night I saw an episode of Ancient Aliens, The Reptilian Agenda, and it blew me away because I wrote the book, Ancient Serpent Gods, in 2016. I was on Coast to Coast, talked to George Norrie about it, and just about everything they talked about last night, except for some caves that they found, is in my book, and it blew me away. It's like, I don't know if there was little copying there, but that was pretty interesting. And they just came out with this episode. So I thought, wow. And, I take my theory a little bit. They're saying ancient aliens, these reptilians. But I think these reptilians, since they've seen them in caves, they've seen, supposedly they come from underground. There's, every ancient civilization has worshipped serpent gods. Who were these serpent gods? I think they are dinosaur, a species of dinosaur that evolved over 200 million years and actually became so intelligent. 200 million years, that's a lot of time to evolve, right?
Yeah.
And I think they had something to do with our DNA, and I think they're still experimenting on us.
Interesting. I have watched a lot of ancient aliens and UFO stories also, and I also have seen a lot of videos where people had given their stories of being abducted, and a lot of them had been under hypnosis, said that they were being examined like doctors, and that there were samples of their DNA taken from them. Some women had had their eggs removed. They felt that they were going to use their eggs to breed somehow. And I've also heard that women say that they had come back with a child that was theirs. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of stories. You don't hear about them now, but many, many stories. A woman would be pregnant, and all of a sudden she wasn't. I mean, the doctor confirmed it and everything, and, gone. But then the aliens abduct the woman at some point, and they're shown their child. Usually a child with a big head, with the big eyes, kind of like the Greys with the big eyes, but they have a little bit of hair and sometimes blonde. But and supposedly Betty, Andres, and Luca, who was abducted many times, in her stories in The Watchers books by Raymond Fowler, she talks about that the reason they've been doing this is because humanity is going to become sterile, and at some point we'll need their help to, they're helping us evolve, supposedly, and I think we need a lot of help right now.
It's interesting. You said humanity is going to become sterile because who was it? One of the doctors that I had interviewed, he was saying, because of the Wi-Fi and because of 5G and because of people putting the men putting their cell phones in their front pocket, that's why so many people have to go to fertility clinics and they have a hard time getting pregnant. And he also said that the fact that they've got Wi-Fi in the schools now, it's sterilizing our children.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. And look at our environment, how toxic it is. We're destroying our water, our oceans. We've got chemtrails, these jets that are flying over us almost daily, covering our skies and who knows what, barium, aluminum. It's going into our food. It just goes on and on. The plastics in our oceans and our, water breaking down. The fish eat the plastic. We eat the fish, and we wonder why we're dying of cancer. There's so much cancer in our world. It's crazy.
These smart meters aren't helping either, Betsy.
Yeah.
I had a Facebook friend that knew nothing about smart meters. He said he just moved into an apartment complex. All of a sudden, he started getting really tired and fatigued, not being able to eat, vomiting. His dog was laying down and vomiting, and he said he went to the doctors. He couldn't understand what was wrong with him, and he said then one day he'd only been in the apartment for 30 days, and he was experiencing all this. He walked outside, walked around the apartment building, and underneath his bedroom window was at least 75 smart meters for the whole apartment, was all underneath his bedroom window.
Goodness. Oh, sure. Yeah. All these waves, the HAARP research, CERN and what they're doing in Switzerland, the cauldron that they're working on, it's just crazy. We've just gone insane with our planet. Our planet is, it's not going to make it if we don't wake up, and part of that awakening, I see a lot of these younger people doing great things and coming up with great ideas, but we've got so many greedy corporations that don't care about the planet. All they care about is destroying it and doing whatever. We shouldn't even be using fossil fuels, which I don't think is really from fossils. But anyway, that's another story. But we've got everything that we could use that's natural, that wouldn't be harming the earth. We need minerals and everything inside the earth because that balances the planet, the grid. And now we're seeing these huge earthquakes all over. Volcanoes are erupting. We've got mysterious booms that people are hearing all over the world. Something's going on with our planet.
I agree.
Yeah.
Now that when and I don't know if you noticed some of the postings that I put up of the towers that have turned on 5G. the animals in the area are becoming disoriented. The birds are flying into the windows.
Yes.
They're dropping from the sky. I posted one the other day where hundreds of thousands of bees just dropped dead underneath this 5G tower.
Right. Oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah. And that where the earthquake was, now they're saying that it had something to do with China Lake Naval Base, they think, with all those bees that just dropped dead, you know. I don't know if it was the earthquake and some kind of wave from it, you know, magnetic wave that killed them, but that's kind of interesting that happened, you know.
Yeah, you know, and how long are we going to exist, Betsy? If the bees go, we go.
Right. Well, that's right. Right.
You know, a lot of people don't realize they pollinate all our food, people. You know?
Yeah, I know. And we keep using these pesticides, and look what it's doing. It's killing the bees. It's killing the worms that we need in the ground. You know, we're killing all these insects that are so important to our earth. I mean, everything is related. Everything is connected. We're connected to everything. Everything has a vibration, and I believe everything, all life is sentient. And, you know, we're destroying it. We've been given this beautiful planet to take care of, and what are we doing? We're destroying it. And I'm not saying everybody. When I say that, I don't mean everybody, but, you know, the majority out there. And we just don't care. We're into our cell phones. We're into TV. We don't care about the natural world out there, and without it, we can't survive. And I think we better start waking up real quick, or Mother Earth is going to wake us up in the meantime.
I think Mother Earth is going to give us a rude awakening real soon. And I've been looking at some of, like the last year, you've been predicting a lot of the earthquakes that have been happening. You've been predicting them beforehand. Now,
right.
When you predict these beforehand, do you see this in a dream, or you just get a feeling? Explain to us what goes on.
Oh, well, good question. Kind of both. Sometimes I have a dream. I had a dream. It was the end of June that I had a vivid dream of a huge earthquake. I didn't know. I had a feeling it was going to be in California. I saw a coast, and that's kind of interesting. It didn't happen on the coast, but it told me that it was California. And, of course, July 5th was the great big earthquake in the Mojave, in the Ridgecrest area, which was 7.1. And I dreamed about it, but sometimes I look, and I've noticed, you know, I think I'm a better earthquake predictor than all these scientists, because, you know, I watch the moon. The full moon has a huge effect on our tides and the earth and the magnetic pull on the earth. And then when we've been getting all these geomagnetic storms from the sun, and the sun, of course, is causing a lot of disturbance with the Earth's magnetic field. So what does that do? That creates huge earthquakes. So I can tell once we get in that window and we're being bombarded by the sun's rays. It's huge. Yeah, and that causes earthquakes. So, you know, I want to teach people, you know, I've got a page out there about predicting earthquakes and how animals pick up these waves in the earth. And, you know, there's just so many things that tell us, you know, people have dreams, they feel it, they feel nausea from it, they feel dizzy, they have headaches. There's just a lot of warnings. Mother Earth warns us before these things happen.
Well, sure. When that when that tsunami hit in Sri Lanka, people couldn't understand, but the elephants ran for the hills before the wave come in.
Yeah, right. They were smart, right? They're heading away from, while the tourists and everybody are heading down into the ocean where it backed out of the cove, right? And, you know, the animals knew, you know, follow the animals. Do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, I mean, and there are some videos on YouTube when the earthquake hit the last one in California, last big one. Dogs were jumping up and running out of the house.
Yeah, right, right, yeah.
So, you know, that's a good indication. But you know,
Yeah.
I'm wondering because we had so many buffalo gore people in the last month or so, and I'm just wondering, are those animals possibly sensing or on edge because they feel something's up? You know?
I think so. Oh, absolutely. And have you noticed all these gas explosions lately all over the place?
Yes.
There's just been
Yeah.
natural gas. Now, according, a lot of these gas lines are old and decaying, and that's possible, but I think there's more to it than what we're hearing.
Well, I
I
think
think
the
there's a
gas
lot more.
explosions are happening because the Earth is shifting and the pipes
Yes.
are breaking underground.
Yes. Yes, I think so. And it reminds me of what happened on 11/11/18/2018, when off the coast of East Africa, there is an island called Mayotte. And you probably read about this, where there was this strange wave that just went around the Earth. And it was picked up on graphs and everything, but it wasn't an earthquake, but it moved the island several inches. And it was just like this silent event that happened. And, we've had several things, huge fissure that formed in Kenya, huge. And also around that same time, there was a huge fissure that formed in Yellowstone. So our Earth is moving. People are saying they don't see, the sun in the same place. There's some kind of tilt with the Earth already.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Have you noticed some strange things? Have you maybe
Oh,
felt
yeah.
something? Or yeah, right.
Yeah, and also I live over here where they got that. I'm not far from Windsor where that strange hum is. They
Right,
talk
right.
right. And
Have you heard it?
Oh yeah, they've had it on our news, and people have gone to the government to try to have them do something about it. At first, when they first started having it happen, they thought it was some factories, but after doing all their testing and everything, they can't locate the source, and I think it's coming from underground, to tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But and the thing, and let me ask you something else too. Are you familiar with people saying, now, when the great earthquake happened on the New Madrid back in the 1800s,
Right.
I did a bunch of shows about that, and I went in and I started looking in the newspapers back at that time to see what was in the newspapers. And did you know that back then they were predicting that people were hearing loud booms, humming,
Mm-hmm.
and they were having a huge smell of rotten eggs? That's methane gas.
Oh, methane, of course. Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, do you know
Sulfur.
that
Yeah.
over in that area, they're having the same thing? That there's a large methane smell there around West Virginia. People are reporting smelling that, and also the booms. They're hearing the boom.
Wow.
So I'm just wondering, with them same symptoms, have
Sure.
you had any feeling that what's going on with the New Madrid?
Well, I think it's ready to go anytime. And what causes it, I seem to notice there's a correlation with volcanoes erupting and huge earthquakes. And I think a lot of these volcanoes actually trigger earthquakes around the world, which, like I said, everything is connected in our world. You can't say that they're not connected. It's like saying that our arm isn't connected to our body. Everything is connected. We're connected to everything. Our thoughts go out there. It's energy. We're creating a lot of this stuff going on. Native Americans constantly tell us that if, we start honoring the earth, we start honoring each other and caring, that these earth changes will lessen and we won't see these huge changes. But I think everything is cyclical too, don't you? That we're going through another phase, and this has happened many times where the poles have actually shifted.
Right. I'm a firm believer that if you abuse somebody, that the only way they can recover is to go through a cleansing. And I think we are abusing the earth so badly that it's time for a cleansing. And I really do believe that when the shift, I do believe we're in the middle of going through a shift. My personal belief is, yes, we're going through a shift. The earth is tilting. We are shifting. And when the shift finally does flip, when the poles flip and we go through, I think we're going to have some major earthquakes. I do. And I think that it's going to be a cleansing for the planet, and the planet's going to shake like a dog, and the evil's going to come off like fleas.
Yeah, I totally agree. I say the shift is going to hit the fan. I know I'm bad sometimes. Not as bad as you, bad baby.
Oh, well, you know what?
Sometimes you have to have a sense of humor, Sometimes you do.
Just let your light shine,
Yeah, that's right.
You can love me or you can hate me. I'm always going to be me.
Right.
I'm sorry. Right. If you don't like me, I was just born this way. Hit the delete button or turn the station.
But the thing is, we've lived many lifetimes, and we're spiritual beings. What we're in, and the aliens have said this for, to people that have been abducted, that we're just, these are containers that we're in. This isn't really us. We have a soul, and we reincarnate, and we come back. We may not come back to this earth. I don't think I want to come back here for quite a long time. I'd like to find another planet that's very peaceful for a while. Spend some time, maybe there's nice aliens out there that, where people are honored, or humans or beings or whatever they are, that everything is nice, and the weather's maybe like 75 degrees everywhere. Yeah.
Well, years ago I interviewed a woman. Her name was Ann Eller. Are you familiar with her?
Mm-mm.
Well,
No.
she actually had an alien encounter, and the aliens that she encountered, she said, were like females. She said the only way to describe them was like one was the head, they were nuns, and one was the head nun, and the rest of them were all nuns that followed her. She said that's a good way to describe them, and they were there was one that was very shy that kept peeking around the corner at her. But her interview, it was just a delight. And too bad I couldn't send it to you, but I had 300 of my shows deleted.
Wow, really? Oh, my God.
So whose nerve did I touch, huh?
Yeah, really. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know it. You know
that's
it, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah,
I no crying over spilt milk. I'll just interview them all over again.
I think we have to speak our truth, don't we? I mean, I think we're in this time. When I was little, I was shy and I was afraid to speak out about these things that I knew about. I was watching for UFOs in the sky when I was in elementary school and trying to levitate pencils and things like that. And people thought I was a little off. But, I was afraid to really come out of the closet, so to speak. And now I feel, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to do it. And if they don't like it, tough. I'm going to talk about these things, right? Don't you feel that way too?
Exactly. That's why I said we are who we are. Let your light shine. Yeah. You don't like me, hit the delete button, or I put it on my page all the time. I put, you know what? You might not like me. You might not like some things I put up here, but you know what? I'm gonna do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So just like watching TV, you don't like the movie, change the channel.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of these things, you're asking me where some of these things come from. Shortly after I had a UFO encounter, I was 7 years old. I started dreaming about huge earth changes. And I would be standing on a pier and I would see this huge tsunami wave coming at me. And then I would be on a mountain trying to get away from exploding volcanoes with a group of people. We're climbing and trying to get away from it. And then I'd feel the winds and the earth shaking. And, and what's really strange about these dreams, and they were, very lucid. It was like watching a movie. I just knew these things were going to happen later in my life. And I've always, known this. It's like I was being programmed to know these things were coming. So, you
Wow.
know, whoever gave them to me, if it was my guardian angels, my spirit guides, aliens, you know, I've been told about these things. So, you know, it's nothing new to me that's what's going on right now.
And it was after you had an alien encounter. Now, it's interesting because I've had a couple dreams like that, but I'm sure I didn't have as many as you have had, but I had one where we experienced a nuclear war.
Wow,
and
really?
and in that dream, everything was black and white, but I was in color. And it was like
Wow.
I was walking through and saw everything that was going on. There were two women in front of the grocery store. They had busted the window out of the store, and people were running out of the store with food. And these two women were fighting over a 6-pack of formula, and some guy was yelling, well, I don't know why you're fighting over it. You can't feed it to the kid anyways. It's full of radiation. And, you know, and it was just little scenes I was going through. And it was like nobody knew I was there. I would say something to them, and they didn't hear me or anything. It was like I was, you know, in a movie, but no one knew I was in the movie. So I find it interesting that, you know, you're kind of like similar.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, it's funny that we're from the same generation, I know. And, you know, I think a lot of us that came in as baby boomers, you know, have been given this gift. And I think I just don't see it in a lot of the other generations. Not to say they're not intuitive, but I think because of all the stuff going on, the chaos and everything in our world right now, that they've just kind of tuned everything out and they're not being intuitive. But I think we kind of grew up with that. You know, we thought that the A-bomb was going to drop on us, and I'm sure you had drills too in school that, you know, we had to run home or get under our desks or something like that was going to save us, right?
They ran. Remember the recess bell would go off in a drill. You know,
yes.
Ring, and then everybody had to get on the floor and cover their head. Like that's going to help you from radiation.
Yeah, right. Yeah, from a nuclear blast. Oh, I don't think so. But yeah, no, it's true. And you know, we were very fearful then. You know, it was a crazy time in the 60s, the early 60s. Yeah. So yeah, I think and maybe that's why we're more sensitive to what's going on with the planet and everything that's going on around us. You know, we have Iran that's got nuclear capability. We've got North Korea firing off missiles daily. We've got, you know, Russia with what they're doing. We got China. You know, we're in a crazy world right now.
Well, you know, I view it as a hornet's nest, and they're different species of bees, and they're ready to attack each other. And unfortunately, the average Joe, the people that are totally innocent in all of this, are going to be the ones that are going to suffer.
Right, exactly. And, you know, I believe Earth is a place to learn and lessons to learn, but I just think that there's just a lot of humans out there that aren't evolving and learning. And like you said, maybe it takes a great cleansing. That's what, you know, indigenous people believe. The elders talk about the great cleansing that's coming. They've been told by the star beings that, you know, aliens, that, you know, something big is going to happen and get ready. You know, the cleansing is going to come. And a lot of them feel that, you know, like in Central America and places like that, because they live with the earth and they understand how to survive, that city people can't survive, you know, out there, you know. And just think about it. Would you know, how many people know how to get food, fish, know what herbs to eat, what mushrooms are, you know, safe or not poisonous? You know, there's just a lot of things.
Well, let me ask you, when you first started getting psychic predictions, what was the first major one that you had, and how did it affect you?
Okay. Well, when I was young, I was, you know, I had things where, like family members, somebody dying in the family. But I would say the first major thing, let me think about this. There's been so many, but I would say I lived in LA in 1971. I was working for a brokerage firm at the time, and I had to get up early. And for 3 nights in a row, I dreamed of a big earthquake, but I knew in the dream I'd be okay. So I saw myself being, protected or whatever. But the morning that the morning that the earthquake hit, and that was the Northridge earthquake, I was up earlier and dressed, and I was living in an apartment, and that apartment shook so hard. I mean, it was swaying back and forth, and I was trying to get the door open, because I think there was a huge earthquake that had hit somewhere in South America, and I heard about all these houses collapsing. I thought, oh, I've got to get out of here. And I couldn't even get the door open. It was shaking so hard.
Wow.
But, I was fine. It was scary when you feel helpless like that in a huge earthquake. So
I bet, you don't know if the building's going to fall on you. No, I've never been. I've been in a small one. I lived in California for 2 years, and I did experience a small one. And interesting enough, it was early in the morning, and I was sitting on the toilet, and the water started splashing. And I was like, what the heck's going on?
Wow.
I'm from Michigan, man. I don't know what an earthquake is.
No, it's scary. I would say the next thing I had, sometimes I get symbolic dreams, and I don't quite understand them. But my mom and I, when we first moved to LA, we lived just a few blocks from the Ambassador Hotel on Wilshire Boulevard. And I had a dream that a gypsy took my hand and just took her fingernail and cut right into the palm of my hand and made a cross. And I thought, well, that's really weird. The dream just stuck with me. And so, I felt that it was telling me the night that Senator Robert Kennedy was shot. And it was just, like I said, a few blocks from where we lived. And I heard all the ambulances when it happened. It was just horrendous, and I thought that dream was telling me that, something was going to happen. And I've always felt, and I've got to tell you this, I always felt there was another shooter. It wasn't Sirhan. That I worked at CBS News at the time on Sunset Boulevard, and there was a woman there. She was a reporter, and we were talking in the restroom one day, and I said to her, I said, I don't think Sirhan did it. And she said, I saw another shooter. And I said, are you serious? And she said, yes. And I said, why haven't you come forward? And she said, do you think I'm going to do that? You know what happened to the people that tried to come forward when John F. Kennedy was assassinated? They died.
Exactly.
Mysteriously. Yeah. And she never did.
Can't blame her, You really can't blame her. I mean,
no.
There's so much, let me ask you, let's go to the present for a moment. With all these mass shootings that are going on, I saw a YouTube video where they interviewed this woman that was at this Walmart, and she said she saw other people going in dressed in black that were shooting.
I saw a story like that on the Rents that they reported that there were people claiming there were other shooters. Like we always hear about the lone shooter, right? And all these things. And, why do we hear about these other things? I don't know. Is there a cover-up? I don't know. There's something really strange going on about that.
Is it mind control? Are these kids being programmed to be the patsy?
Oh, I think so. I think there's a lot of satanic stuff going on. I think it's mind control. Young people are very impressionable. They're, and they hear things, whether it's in music, these video games. And Trump isn't to blame. I mean, everybody's to blame. Society's to blame. And, there's, like I said, there's a lot of horrible satanic stuff going on.
the Texas shooter's mother had called the police a month or so
Mm-hmm.
and said that she didn't think it was a good thing for her son to have that gun, and tried to get the cops
Right.
to do something about it. Well, how about the mother? Isn't she to blame? I mean, if my kid
Sure.
had one of them and I didn't want him to have it, when he left the damn house, I'd take the thing and I'd get it away from him. I'd
Yeah.
say, well,
Right.
I took it to a pawn shop, and yeah, I want you to have it. You know,
And yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. You're
you're
right. You're right. It's parents, and they teach them no regard for human life, and it's what's going on. Everything is precious. I think if people believed in reincarnation, it's like, do you remember the movie Ghost? And in the movie, the bad guy is taken away by these dark things that grab him and take him off into another world or something.
Yes.
Betty Andreas and Luca was shown this by aliens. She was in a hospital room, and this man's dying, and she watched a beam of light, and then these dark things trying to grab at this man's soul, and it was a tug of war. And I kind of wonder, and I don't believe in hell. I really don't. But I don't think any soul is destroyed by God or anything like that. I think we have a way to redeem ourselves, but I think these souls go into a sleep for a long, long time until they are healed. And I think are you still there?
You want to know you want to know what I was told?
What were you told? Tell me.
Well, I was told that when you cross over, there are different levels that you graduate to.
Sure.
And that if you weren't a good person, you don't go to hell. You go to the lowest level, and you have to go to school and be re-educated. And then you come back in a reincarnated body to do it all over again to see if you'll learn from your lessons that you didn't learn the first time.
Right. And, I think sometimes some of these people that have done terrible things do come back in another life, and maybe they experience something just as horrible, So you kind of wonder. I don't think that's true with everybody. That, I believe that there's things that are planned and, certain ways that we decide to go, and people that go in groups. And I've always felt that, like in 9/11, the people that are meant to live are saved. Either their spirit guides tell them not to go, they get this message, or somebody just stops them from going into work. That you hear about these stories all the time, that they're saved by something, or they were sick that day and they didn't go into work, and so they missed the events of 9/11. Something stopped them from being there. So,
there is a woman that actually was in the towers, that was in the rubble, that was rescued. And her story, when I read about her story, was so phenomenal, because she said that the concrete was all over her and around her, and there was one little hole of light that she could put her hand out. And she was putting her hand out this hole and yelling, "I'm here, I'm here." And she said somebody came and held her hand and said, "I'll stay with you. It'll be okay. You're going to get out of here. We'll be here to dig you out soon." She said, I couldn't remember the name of the person, but she named this person's name and said this person kept her calm. And then finally, when they found her and they got her out, she said, "Where is this person?" And they said, "What person?" There was no person.
Yeah, her guardian angel was there.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So many times people don't believe in angels, and I'm going to tell you right now, I tell everybody, we all have angels, and all you got to, and they can't, you have to talk to them. Am I right?
You do. Some people wonder what the difference is between a spirit guide and an angel, and I believe angels have never been in physical form. They are so evolved, so enlightened, and our spirit guides have been in a physical body. They've been on Earth before, they've reincarnated, so that's the difference, I believe. What do you think? What's your take on it?
I think you're right. I don't know if you're familiar with Bruce Vandata, but he actually had a semi fall on his mid-body. He was underneath a mechanic working on this semi, and the axle came down. It fell off the jack, and it almost cut him in half. And do you know he had two angels on the front of that semi with their arms underneath that semi, and he came out of his body. He was up in the ceiling looking down at it. His story is phenomenal. They told him he was going to die. They removed a lot of his intestines. They kept telling him he was going to starve and all this. And one of the pastors that he knew in New York came to pray for him, and he said it was like a snake inside of his body that just came uncurled. And they were going to do surgery the next day and cut more of his intestine out. And actually, the Lord let him grow, I think he said 6 feet of intestine. And the surgeon was an atheist.
Wow.
And he was
Seriously?
so mad. Yeah, he was so mad that Bruce's intestines grew that he threw his scalpel and everything across the room.
What a story. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and Bruce, he goes around to all these churches telling about what happened to him, and he's been on many, many television shows, and just look him up, Sweetbread Ministry. Bruce Vandana, look him up because his story is great. And some of the things that he still goes through. I mean, he has a blog too, and he posts on his blog all these miracles that happen, and he'll go into churches and people will have healings and miracles. It's just, I just was so blessed to interview him. That's another one that was deleted. I have to have him back.
Wow. But isn't that interesting? What do you think about time travelers, though? Sometimes I think I really believe in time travel, and I believe that time travelers do show up and sometimes save people like guardian angels. There's been stories that kind of remind me of that. Oh, we've got a big electrical storm out here tonight. I'm watching all the lights flashing out there. But yeah, there's some great stories of what I would say. I don't know if you can hear that, can you?
Yes, I can. I can hear the
Yeah, it's really rumbling out here.
Whenever I hear that I remember I used to be scared when I was little, and my grandma used to say, "Oh, there's nothing to be scared of. It's just the giants in the clouds. They're bowling."
It's Thor out there. Yeah.
And then when the lightning would flash, and the sky would light up, she goes, "See, one just got a strike."
My dog just went to hide. He's scared. Oh, poor baby.
So let's talk a little bit about some of your past predictions. You had predicted that Donald Trump would be elected. How did you know Donald Trump would be elected?
Well, I had a vision. I had a vision that was so incredible. I saw him taking the oath of president. I saw him in a dark overcoat, dark black. It looked like it was black, and I saw Melania in something lighter, and I didn't know what color it was. And I thought it was going to be a cold, clear day, but it rained. And what's really strange is that when he took the oath, I believe it was when he took the oath, the rain stopped. Isn't that kind of interesting? Mm-hmm. That I knew, I had a lot of people that didn't want to be my friend anymore on Facebook when I said he was going to be president. And I never changed my mind, Other psychics were saying, "Oh, it's Hillary. And I go, no. It's not going to be Hillary. And I knew, and I had this, I couldn't change it because I saw that. The vision was that strong, that vivid.
Wow. And that is so childish to unfriend somebody because of the way they feel. Mm-hmm. I just don't, that's just like people that don't like people of color. I hate you because you don't hate other people that I hate. I'm sorry, I'm me. I don't want to be you. I want
Yeah. Well, I just want to tell them, get mad at my spirit guides, They tell me these things. Don't get mad at me. I'm just relating what they're telling me. So.
Again, be who you are. Be who you are, Betsy. Let your light shine. You know,
That's right.
don't ever try to hinder yourself or change yourself for the way somebody
No.
wants you to believe. Because what
No.
they're doing is they're trying to make you a round peg and stick you in a square hole.
Oh boy, that's for sure. That's for sure.
And it don't fit. It just don't fit.
It doesn't.
Now,
no.
Are you getting any vibes? Oh yeah, there goes them giants again.
Yeah.
Tell them to knock it off for a little bit.
Yeah, we got some tall trees around us. Just don't hit any of these trees, please, please, please.
Okay. Are you getting any vibes about the upcoming election?
Yes, I know Donald Trump is going to win. He's going to win again. You know, Democrats, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know. Have they taken some kind of weird pill or something, or is it the water they're drinking, or what's going on with them? I don't know. I've never seen such, I've never seen such silly things that they're doing and saying, and I don't know. Have they all lost their minds? It's contagious, whatever it is.
There's a lot of hate going on.
I just, and people just don't understand that hate is a strong emotion. And, where do they think this energy, I mean, hate is an energy just like love is. And hate goes into the universe. It goes into the earth. Mother Earth is feeling this. And I'm going to tell you right now, no matter where you live on this planet, we are all going to experience huge earth changes. We're already seeing the beginning of it. I mean, weather is just going to be crazy. The wildfires, the torrential rains, the floods, you name it. We're going to see it. Hurricanes, stronger hurricanes, tornadoes. We've already seen that. I just want people to be prepared. Just be prepared any way that you can. For any kind of disaster. It's coming.
Yeah. Did you know that Nostradamus predicted the big earthquake in California for this year?
You did? Are you sure?
Yeah. I've read a lot of his. I've studied him a lot, and yeah, one of his predictions for this year was a major earthquake in the United States. Also, Edgar Casey predicted it for this year, too.
Well, a lot of things that Casey predicted haven't come true. He said about the turn of the century, the big one was going to hit. And I think actually the shift of the Earth's axis, too, he predicted that. And that hasn't happened. Not to say that, it couldn't happen. I still think it could. And I think we're building up to it. But I think a lot of these predictions, timelines can change. I really believe timelines can change. I can't talk tonight. But, I think they can change.
I think it's because of the energy field that we're putting into the planet, like you said.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we're going to, have a lot of hate and a lot of disruption and a lot of mayhem, which we're having right now, the Earth's going to affect everything. And I mean, look at what happened in Times Square. A motorcycle backfires and people trample each other like a herd of panicked, the fear,
Right. We're fearful right now. We're angry right now. What horrible emotions we're putting into the planet, and we're just radiating this horrible energy, this negative energy. And, like I said, the planet is feeling it. And, if we would just all settle down, take a chill pill, everybody, let's get our act together. Let's human up. Come on, let's do it. Let's change, the timelines. Let's cause a prime event. There's prime events like the harmonic convergence. I don't know, you're probably a part of that August 16th, 1987, when everybody came together. This is before the internet. Everybody around the world heard about this and started praying. and did all kinds of ceremonies and everything. And, things started changing. The Berlin Wall came down, I believe when we come together in mass consciousness, we can change anything. We can move mountains. That's what kind of energy we have as humans.
Well, and see, this is what I think we should do every morning when we get up. Spend the morning focusing on the good things you're going to do today, energy of love, how it doesn't have to be, a lot of people go, I don't have money to be good. It has nothing to do with money. It has to do with just being kind. Open the door for somebody. Help a struggling lady in her walker. Cut your next door neighbor who's disabled grass. And let's start changing the energy field to love and goodness instead of, oh, I don't like that guy, and oh, everybody's going to shoot me, and and the thing that these people don't understand that are panicking and running because they think they're going to get shot is we're all going to die one day. If you do get shot and you leave, that was your life plan, that was the way you're going to leave the planet,
Exactly. That's true. It's true. And you will be back. I mean, the soul doesn't die. Energy, energy can't be destroyed. You learned that in school, and it's true. We're energy. We can't be destroyed. We just go on into another form. We're going into a different vibration. Everything is vibration in the world. That's something Pythagoras believed. Numbers are vibration. Everything. Oh, my doggy's right by here. He's shaking.
There's these two guys that had started this. They were so upset about the ocean being full of garbage that they started going every day and picking up all the garbage on the beach.
Yes.
Did you see that? And then now
swimming for oceans. Yeah, did you see the bracelets that they're selling for $20 that are made from the plastic that has been gathered around the world? Yes, it's wonderful.
Exactly.
And they're young people. I mean, these young people, why can't we think of these things? They're doing something. They're doing positive things. And you see a lot of these young people thinking of things. These people, I think these souls, they're old souls. They've been in Atlantis. They are just evolved, and here they are again trying to help the planet. And let's think about these things instead of watching TV and doing everything that we do. We just, get into ceremony too. I learned that when I spent a lot of times with Native Americans and, the chanting, the drumming, music. I'm writing an article about it, and I may write a book too about healing with music and chanting and vibration. These are higher vibrations. Mozart and the classical music is all healing, and there's studies that have been done that, vibration with music is one of the best ways. It helps your intellect, if you want to be smarter. It helps with pain, with epilepsy, with children with disabilities they found. Music is amazing. So, there's just so much we need to put our minds and start doing some positive things, like you said, and do random acts of love out there. Be kind to people. Spend one day and not think of one negative thing. See if you can do that out there,
And now you're asking for some miracles. But yeah, I agree.
Well, I believe in miracles,
Oh, I do. I absolutely do. We need to change our mindset.
Yeah,
we need to quit watching all of the hate and the, all the Democrats hate Donald Trump and they hate this guy and they hate that guy, so I'm going to hate them too. I'm going to be just like them. And you know what?
Yeah.
Again, you're a sheeple. You're following the crowd.
Yeah.
I never was a sheeple. I be my own person. So, I always say if I wanted someone to think for me, I'll give you a call.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And I haven't made any calls yet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do my own thinking over here.
I like that.
You on, Betsy.
Have you seen my Earth News blog that I put on my website every day? I update it with all the things that are going on with the planet, but a lot of times I kind of stick in my own thoughts. And, I talk about people, I read for a lot of people, psychic readings all over the world. And, I find so many people are so afraid of stepping outside their comfort zone, And so, I'm telling them, you can create anything. If you have a goal, if you have a vision, if you stick to what you want to do and you don't give up. And I think about Arnold Schwarzenegger because I got to meet him up in Sun Valley. I got to see him all the time. I was working at a furniture design store, and Arnold's a great guy. He really is. He's really down to earth, even though he's a big star and everything. But he has a video on YouTube where he's talking, a big conference, and he's telling how he got started. He came from poverty in Austria, and his father was a policeman, and they wanted him to stay in Austria and marry a girl named Heidi. He says that for laughs anyway. But anyway, he says that, he couldn't see himself doing that. He had a vision. He had a plan, and he stuck to it. He said that all the naysayers told him, you'll never be a big bodybuilder. You'll never be an actor with that name, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that heavy accent. You'll never do this. And, he proved everybody wrong. He says when he heard all the negatives, he turned that all into positives. And he created his reality. And I believe we all can. Some people feel that they're born under a dark cloud or they just have this horrible karma and they can't amount to anything. And I don't believe that at all. I think we have free will. We came in with certain gifts and talents, but, we can do anything.
I love his movie, Kindergarten Cop.
Wasn't that funny? That was a good one.
Yeah, it was. Let's talk about empath. I know you're an empath, and I'm also an empath.
Yes.
And so explain to everybody out there what an empath is.
Well, an empath is someone that feels emotions. They feel, if you're around somebody that's sick, a lot of times you can pick up their energy. If you're around what I call energy vampires, and a lot of us know energy vampires. They just suck the energy out of us. They're not evil people, but they're just negative. And I think that, it really affects people like you and I because we're so sensitive. And I'll give you a couple of examples. I was around someone that I had known years ago, and they had a couple of strokes. And I couldn't be around this person very long because I started feeling like I was having a stroke. I couldn't talk right. It was so weird. But as soon as I got away from this person, I was fine. Another instance of that, I decided to get involved with a couple from Australia when I was living up in Ketchum, Idaho. And we were starting this cleaning catering business. And they wanted me to invest the money that I had. And, I started getting this horrible gut feeling. It just hurt. When they say you get this gut feeling, well, you do, literally. Listen to this gut feeling. And something told me, do not get involved with them. Well, I didn't listen. Mistake. I paid the price, too. I lost a bunch of money with them, and I should have listened to that little gut feeling that I had. Well, it wasn't a little one. It was a big gut feeling. But, and you've probably had some things like that, too. You probably can't be around certain people, right, too long that it affects you.
And, and another thing I feel is like when someone's trying to manipulate me or abuse me, I can actually almost see what they're thinking.
Wow.
It's like, oh, I can see what you're up to. I can actually see what you're thinking. and that ain't happening.
Yeah, well, good, good for you. Well, yeah, oh, well, you're amazing, Bad Baby. You really are. You're very intuitive, and what a great lady you are.
Oh, thank you. You're a great lady too. You know, I know you're
Thank
my
you.
soul sister because when we get together, we don't have to follow the script. We just kind of
No,
interact.
we do. We just play it by ear and talk about anything, don't we?
Well, and the thing is, you know, I feel like I've known you for years. When I get you on my show, it's like, oh, I'm going to hook up with my girlfriend tonight.
Well, I feel the same way. You know, there are people, and I feel that we've known each other. You know, when you meet somebody for the first time, and you just have this feeling, this affinity that, you know, you've known them. Deja vu. It's you've known them. I mean, there's no denying it. You know. And then there's other people that you get around and you go, oh, you know, I don't want to be around this person. They repel you.
They got a bad energy and they drain you. You know?
Right.
It's like, oh, I'm having a good time and you just crushed my happy button, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk
I want to
about
ask you what you think.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you what you think about all this disclosure on UFOs lately, you know, the Pentagon and the Navy, and what do you think? Do you think we're going to have disclosure?
I'm skeptical about it. I don't think it's going to come from the government. I think it's going to come from the aliens.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think
the aliens are going to be the ones that reveal themselves to us. I don't think that anybody in authority is ever going to get out there and say, well, guess what? We've been lying to you, and they've been here for a long time, and blah, blah, blah. And the reason I think that is because there have been so many light things going on in the sky, and it's like objects behind the clouds that are, I think that you know, I don't know if you're familiar with Dolores Cannon, but Dolores Cannon, she actually, before she died, she had predicted that that the pole shift was going to happen. And she also said that the aliens are here, and they're all different species, all different races, and here from galaxies way far away. They've come from everywhere, and it's like a big show for them. This is a once in a lifetime event that's going to happen, and they aren't allowed to interfere, but they are, after the shift happens, the people who survive, they are going to come in and try to help and assist some of the survivors. That's what she predicted. But, and the thing is, people are putting it up on YouTube, all these lights that are in the sky and objects behind cows, cubes.
I know.
And,
yes, have you watched Mr. MBBB333?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I follow
showing all these, these clouds. People are these great big huge triangle type craft. Now, I know our military's been working on some stuff like that, you know, over Area 51. But I think there's just a lot of alien motherships out there hovering around that are, you know, actually able to, you know, disguise themselves as clouds. You know,
And I think the reason they're kind of showing themselves a little bit right now, Betsy, is because we're real close to the shift. I don't think the shift's going to happen like tomorrow. I don't think the shift's going to happen in 6 months. I think that we might have 4, maybe 5 years. But within the next few years, the next few years, it's going to happen. But what I do think, and here I go, I'm predicting, I think that from now until the shift happens, we're going to go through a whole lot of bad weather.
We are. Horrible. Yeah. And everything is going to be out of balance. You know, winter, summer, the temperatures, you know, it'll be extreme cold, extreme heat. it's huge rains that people have never seen before, flooding that, we're already seeing that on the East Coast and places, like in the Midwest too. Huge flooding, never seen before. Breaking records. We are seeing records broken all over the place. I heard like Alaska had record-breaking heat up there. They've never seen like in the 90s up there. Just crazy stuff. And it's going to get crazier.
One of the things they predicted on CNN the other morning, they went over the temperatures around the world, and then they said, this is the first time we've had this much record-breaking heat ever recorded in the history of the planet.
Yeah, June and July were the hottest ever recorded. Yeah, right.
What do you think about what's going on in Greenland?
Are you talking about, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about
everything melting?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And of course, all that methane is being released too in the atmosphere. We've got that. Plus, there's just, I think with Planet X, we're seeing a lot of dust, red dust, and that's from Planet X. We're going to see a lot more of that. But, yeah, melting, huge melting. And, now the poles, I think, balance the Earth. Now, maybe I'm wrong. This is just my theory. But, when things start melting like that, it's going to shift the poles. Everything's going to flip over. And I think when that happens, there's going to be horrendous winds. I think that maybe the rotation may even stop for 3 days. And, the Bible talks about 3 days of darkness, and of course one side of the earth would be light for 3 days and the other side would be dark for 3 days. And they say that the sun someday will actually rise in the west and set in the east. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. And these are things that we're talking about, people that are to come, not things that have happened, but we're saying these things are going to come. So as far as, some of these things that we're saying are pretty scary.
They are. I know. And I don't want to scare people. I just want them to be prepared. But, yeah,
exactly.
And I hope I'm wrong. I just don't think so, because all these things are coming true right now. But
exactly.
So are you going to ask me if we can change things?
No, I'm going to ask you if, like what we were talking about earlier, about thinking positive, being positive. Yes. Because when I first started doing these shows about Planet X, and finding out all these things, these horrible things, and talking about these horrible things, it kind of traumatized me, being an empath, thinking, oh my God, the poor children, and I was like, I had to really grasp myself to pull myself out of it and not be so down about it, I've changed myself as far as the way I think about it, because let's face it, folks, there's nothing we can do about what's happening. It's going to happen. So what I'm thinking is, what do you suggest? Because what do you suggest the best way, besides being prepared and prepping and knowing that you're going to, at least try to have some way to deal with it, how spiritually should we prepare ourselves for what's to come? Do you got anything for us on that?
Yeah, I do. I think meditation is really, really important. When we take a few minutes to just meditate, be calm, be at one with everything, the oneness. But I think getting back into nature too, because I learned from two of my mentors. They're Native American. They've both passed over. But they taught me that everything is alive. And, one thing about the earth, we don't go out and talk to things. Most of us don't, but I do. Like I talk to the trees. Hug a tree. Plants hear you.
I talk to my bushes.
Do you? Yeah.
And I talk to the snakes.
That's wonderful. I'm glad you do that. That's one because they hear us. They know. Dr. Emoto did all those experiments with water crystals and learned that, when you pray over water, the crystals in the water become pure and perfect. But when people start thinking bad thoughts, they actually were deformed and irregular and ugly. And so it proves that when people come together, we can heal water. We can purify water with our thoughts, with
like
love.
The picture of Dorian Gray. Remember that movie?
Yes, the aging photo. And
where all the evil went into the picture,
Right.
Oh, that movie was awesome.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, and it really is a metaphor for what we can do. Yeah, let's turn this negative stuff around and get back into nature again. Corbin Harney was just a great spiritual leader of the Shoshone people, and he said, he would talk to the water. The water actually told him that it was going to look like water someday, but you wouldn't be able to drink it. And when you think about it, we're drinking purified water in plastic bottles. And, he said, talk to the earth, talk to the trees, they hear you, that we've got to get back into nature and honoring everything. So everything is back into balance again. And that's when we balance the earth, we balance ourselves. Start loving ourselves. How many people really love themselves anymore? You look around the earth and you look at people now, and we're not taking care of ourselves. We're not, and we don't love each other. We don't love ourselves. Start loving. That's kind of I think we're afraid of love, aren't we? Maybe that's the problem. We're afraid of love. And
I'm not. If you look at my Facebook page, I always tell everybody I love them every morning.
You're wonderful. Yeah.
It's funny when you said talk to everything, because it takes me forever to cut the grass around my pond because I have a lot of frogs. And they'll come up and they'll be trying to hop away, get away from the lawnmower. And I sit there and I stop. And I go on now, get out of my way. And I wait.
That's right.
I'm out of my way.
That's right. And, everything has a purpose on this planet. I think about frogs and they tone, and everything is helping the earth. It's, I even believe that there are invisible beings that watch over the plants, if you want to call them fairies or whatever. I think they exist out there. The orbs. I've had people send me photos of, somewhere in the forest, and there's orbs all around them. There's something there. There's that energy of the forest. And, we forget about all that.
Do you think that people like you and me were to be here during this time?
Absolutely. We're here. We're here to shake up things. We're system busters. We're out there to shake them up. Dad, baby, we are. I think we knew that. You were probably like that as a child too. You knew you had a mission, right? You've always known that.
When I was a child, I just didn't feel like I fit in. School was boring to me. I just thought it was nonsense. And I just kind of, and I remember teachers telling me, you're never going to be anybody, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up teaching myself. Even when I was a die setter. I was the only die setter for this factory, the only woman die setter, and none of the guys wanted a woman. And none of them would teach me because they had to train me. I had 2 weeks to be trained. And they made me so mad that they wouldn't teach me that I just said, oh, I don't need you. I'll just do it myself. And I sat there and figured it all out myself. So, I just, and I've done so many things. I was a die setter. I was a bartender. I went to floral design school and took the 3 trophies and the 3 ribbons and the trophy for the best in the class. I went to truck driving school, and I graduated driving semi at the top 3 of my class, a 98.7. you know.
Wow. You are courageous. You're just a go-getter, aren't you? You are. Wow.
And now I do this radio interviews, and everyone says I'm, like a professional. I never went to train for any of this. I don't make any money off of this. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I never thought I'd be doing this. And I think that my path came this way because during this time, what's going on in this planet, this is what I was supposed to do to try to help others transition through this change we're going through.
Right. Yeah.
And then I met you, and people that are supposed to help with all this. And I do believe that we are here, me, you, and others that are like Mr. MBV3 and all these people that are studying what's happening with Planet X coming in. We all came, my belief is we all came here because we're here to help those that don't know, don't understand, and live in fear to go through this without the trauma.
Right, exactly. I believe that too. And, we're talking about things that people can do. I think get back into ceremony. Ed McGaw, Eagle Man, taught me that, he believed in the rainbow tribe, that we're all the rainbow tribe. And, we're here to do ceremony. He taught, if you do a sweat lodge, go to a sweat lodge if you ever get a chance. Go to a powwow, because of the drumming. I love the drumming and the chanting, and it stirs my soul. It really does. There's something about it. I can't explain it, but it's very powerful and it's very healing. And I think if we, burn a little sage, a little sweetgrass, if you want to do set up something in your room there where you have certain pictures there, whatever, listen to some soothing music, do whatever you need to do,
Essential oils.
Spirit.
I think essential oils are great help.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Vibrations, they're vibrations too. For healing. There's just so many amazing things out there. If you want to get into something to help people, there's just so many ways to do it. And, like you're talking about oils and Reiki and just all kinds of things, acupuncture, just many holistic type healing techniques.
Okay, now I got to ask you this real quick. Have you had any dreams in the past few weeks? And if you did, what were they? And are you feeling that we might be in for a major earthquake anytime soon?
Yeah, I feel that it's building. I've been watching. I go to the USGS earthquake map every day, and when I start seeing earthquakes that are getting up into the 5-point, that tells me that something's building somewhere. I don't know where it's going to hit, but that means that there's going to be a big earthquake. And I've been noticing that almost in the past few weeks, we've had all this building. And plus, we've got a geomagnetic storm coming up. I think it's this weekend from the sun. So that's going to hit the earth and vibrate the earth. So we're probably going to have some big earthquakes coming up. Now, dreams, no, I haven't had any dreams of big earthquakes in the last few days, just the one I had at the end of June, which told me that there was going to be a big quake. But volcanoes, watch the volcanoes. If something really starts erupting huge, not just ash, but really erupting, there's going to be a huge earthquake. So go to my website and just click on Earth Changes on there, and you'll read some of the things I've written, how to, anticipate or know the warning signs of a huge earthquake.
Right. And for those, we had a couple people that just came in that were late and didn't catch the bio. Betsey's website is www.betseylewis.com. Betsey, I just love you to death.
I love you too. Thank you so much for having me back on the show. And I wish we'd do this more often. We could just talk about everything. I know, everything. Aliens, you name it, reincarnation, anything. We'll just talk about it all.
Okay. Well, listen, right now I've been off the air for the summer because I've got so much going on here on the farm. But when I schedule, I'm gonna get back on every Friday, probably starting in the fall. So when
super.
I get back on track, why don't I, get a hold of you, and we'll, what we'll do, we'll try to have you come on one Friday every month. How's that sound?
Oh, that sounds great. Great. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm open.
Okay. We'll keep everybody
Thanks so
up to date.
much.
But if you do, let me throw this in there too. If you do have a dream that really, really, shakes you, get a hold of me and we'll do a quick show on it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I will. Absolutely.
And on that note, I'm going to tell you, I just love you to death. You have a peaceful move. I hope everything goes smooth for you. I'm going to send you a lot of loving energy. And you're just a gift from above, and I can't wait for us to do our next show. How about you?
Oh yeah, thank you so much. You're a blessing. You are. Thank you so much.
Okay, honey. So you have a great night, and I noticed that the Giants quit bowling up over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it off in the distance now. It's kind of moved on, but we're supposed to have more of this tomorrow, so.
Oh, well, we've got sunshine for the weekend, so I'm just going to enjoy I'm having a major yard sale over here. They have it once a year. It's 100 miles all the way around the lake.
Oh, my gosh. So my goodness.
Yeah. And all the people come from town. They go right past my farm. I said, I'm going to catch all these yard sale people.
There you go. That sounds great. Well, you have
time to get rid of a bunch of dust and junk.
Have a great one. Thank you, Bad Baby.
Thank you. You too, honey, and I'll be getting a hold of you. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And on that note, I want to thank everybody for joining us. I'm sorry for the people that came in late, but I will be downloading this show and putting it up on YouTube. So if you want to go over on YouTube and re-listen to it, or you can listen to it here again on TalkShoe when it comes up. That was Betsy Lewis, renowned international psychic, and she's just a phenomenal lady. Always a delight to have her on. I just want to let you all know that I won't be out here every Friday, and probably not until the end of summer. And then once fall comes, I'll get back on track, and we'll try to come out here every Friday and start re-interviewing a lot of the people that I had that got deleted. And like I said, if something pops up that needs to be talked about, I'll get a hold of the guest and we'll throw a show out here. So like I said, just keep coming and checking my window and see if I've got something going on. You know, you never know. I might just throw one out here on an off night too if it's really pertinent. So on that note, I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. God bless everybody, and stay safe out there. And remember, Bad Baby loves you.